Well, Mercedes had withdrawn from competition, and Juan Fangio was without a drive. A three-time world champion, he was already a legend.
Fangio is arguably the greatest racing driver there has ever been, certainly in many people's eyes. He was born in 1911 in Argentina, and he took an interest, as all young people do, in cars. Ended up being a bit of a riding mechanic, and eventually took part in cross-country events in big old Chevrolet, for instance. But he was 38 years old before he actually came to Europe to do a full season of Grand Prix racing. Turned out to be indecently quick in his first season of racing. 1950, he was second in the World Championship. Alfa Romeo signed him up, and he was world champion in 1951 in an Alfetta, Type 158. In 1952 and 1953, he was completely dominated by Ascari in his Ferrari. He got left behind a little bit, but come 1954, he's back in business, driving for Mercedes-Benz. World champion in 1955 as well, and when Mercedes pulled out, he didn't have a drive. Ferrari picked him up, put him in the Lancia Ferrari. He won 5 major Formula One races, world champion again in 1956, and again, when Ferrari pulled out with the Lancia for 57, he went back to Maserati, which everybody said was not a very bright idea, but in his 250F, he had some of the greatest drives that motor racing has ever seen, not the least of which was winning the German Grand Prix at the Nürburgring, when basically Mike Hawthorne and Pete Collins have got it in the bag in their Works Ferrari Dinos.
Hawthorne, der Engländer, auf dem Ferrari, dann Collins.
Old Fangio makes a pit stop. They lose the wheel nut. It kind of rolls under the car. His mechanic eventually finds it, bangs his wheel nut up. He set off like a bat out of hell. Caught up the 2 Ferrari factory drivers.
Hawthorne, Collins und Fangio.
Gave them a driving lesson, went right past them, won the race.
Da kommt Fangio noch einmal, immer noch an der Spitze.
Well, of course, he was world champion again in 1957, whereupon he retires. But he'd had 5 world championships in total, 4 of them in a row. And to have achieved that in those days, up against some pretty serious competition indeed, is quite remarkable.